Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So I got an email from one of my bad boy members, and I want to remind you guys, if you are on the bad boy membership, if you're a bad boy member, you can email me questions anytime, and all of your questions are guaranteed to be answered. Okay, so you can send me your questions, and I will answer them guaranteed. All right, so this email, it says, "What's up, Mr. Locario? I'm a bad boy member, and I have a question. I've listened to your monthly programs, and remember in one of them you tell men they should lead the conversation. I notice this sometimes on Tinder or online sites where I message women, and it seems like some women aren't really trying to talk. Case in point, I'm talking to this attractive woman on Tinder now. She will politely answer my questions / messages, usually within a few hours of me sending them, which is cool, but she doesn't really add or say much to the conversation. Add much more to the conversation, nor does she have any questions to ask me. She seemed most talkative when talking about her job. Other than that, I get short answers / replies, and it has been that way for the past 10 or 12 interactions with her. She says in her profile she wants to do an online video chat before giving out her number. She doesn't live in my city / state, but since she travels a lot and she does come out to my city often. But if the conversation is going to go as it's been going lately, I don't want to talk to her over the phone. I could give her the benefit of the doubt and hope she'll liven up to talk more over the phone, but I don't know. If I was talking to her in person, I could probably pick up on the tone and body language, but with just words, I'm not sure if she doesn't want to talk or does want to talk, but just doesn't have anything to say, or if she's getting bored because I'm starting to get bored with the conversation, and then feel like I'm carrying it. I feel like there was chemistry. I feel like there was chemistry. Convo should be popping with both of us, which leads me to my question. What's the difference between leading the conversation and carrying the conversation? Or are they one and the same? Could you give examples of each? Could you please leave my name anonymous? I'd like an email response, and feel free to do a video response, whichever you have time. I think the fellas could benefit from fleshing out that point, leading versus carrying a conversation." All right. So it's a lot of stuff in there, man. A lot of stuff. All right. So is there a difference between leading the conversation and carrying the conversation? Well, first, let's define what this is. What is leading the conversation? Okay. And I talk about this in a couple of audios and stuff that I've done. And leading the conversation basically is when you are sort of guiding the conversation in a direction that you want it to go, so that the girl will agree to go on a date with you, to have sex with you, whatever it is you're trying to do. So you're guiding it in that direction so that you can actually, make things happen the way you want it to happen. So you're sort of like controlling the direction of where the conversation is going, right? Now, carrying a conversation is when you're talking to a girl and she's not really bringing anything to the conversation, either because, like she might give you one word answers. She's not really saying much. And this could be because she's not interested. This could be because she's, bored with the conversation, or this could be because she's nervous and doesn't really have, social skills. You understand? So it could be any of those things. So, there's a difference between actually like leading the conversation and carrying the conversation. And the thing is, what you need to be focused on, for any of you guys out there, is leading the conversation. If you have to carry the conversation, you're talking to a girl who has no social skills or who isn't really interested in most cases. So it's not really, something you need to worry about, right? So all you need to worry about is leading the conversation. Now, what I want to say is this, is that when you're talking to girls online, especially, I want to point out something you said in the email. Is you said, I was getting short answers, replies, and it's been that way for 10 out of the past 12 interactions with her, right? See, now that right there is a problem. One, because you're having 10 or 12 interactions with her. When you're online and you're talking to women, you want to set a date to get her information as soon as possible. And this is why it's important to lead the conversation, right? So I'll give you an example of what it would look like if you're leading the conversation, right? So let's say, you match with some chick on Tinder, and then you send her a message and you're like, hey, what's up? What are you doing this weekend? Right? Then she replies, oh, nothing much, just working. Right? Then you reply, oh, working? You should be out having fun with me instead of working. Right? And she replies, oh, really? And then you reply, yeah, so since you're working this weekend, when are you free so we could get together and get a drink? Right? And she'll reply, oh, I'm free Tuesday after 6:30 p.m. or whatever. And you reply, okay, cool. There's a spot downtown. I'll take you on Tuesday. What's your number? And she replies and she gives you the number. And then you be like, all right, cool. See you on Tuesday. Like, you're done. So the whole conversation, you're leading the conversation, meaning your intentions. And that's another thing that I forgot to mention, is that when you're leading the conversation, you have to have a goal in mind. So your goal in this conversation was to get her to give you the number so you could set up a date with her. So all you did was you messaged her, and you're like, hey, what are you up to this weekend? Because you're already starting to think like, oh, I'm going to probably say let's get together this weekend. But then she's like, oh, well, I'm working. So you're like, okay, well, she's working this weekend. So now you're like, okay, cool. You should be, come out and have some fun with me. When are you free? You understand? So you're basically just asking her questions so that she can give you information so that you can use in order to set up the date, right? So when you said, since you're working this weekend, when are you free so we can get together for a drink? And then she says, I'm free Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Right? So now she's cooperating to let you know when she's free so that you can say, okay, cool, let's get together Tuesday and do this and do that. Right? So you're the one, you're starting the conversation, you're leading it in that direction so that you can basically, make this thing happen with her. Right? Now, carrying the conversation would be you sort of just, talking about whatever, but you're the one like making it go. So for example, you carrying the conversation would be something like, you would say, oh, hey, how's Tinder working for you? And she'll be like, oh, it's fine. And then you're like, oh, so, what part of the city do you live in? And she's like, Brooklyn. And then you're like, cool. So what do you do in Brooklyn? And then she's like, nothing, just chilling. You know what I mean? It's like, you're carrying a conversation, but nothing's really happening. You're not leading it anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're not really saying anything. So a lot of you guys, sometimes you'll get caught up in feeling like you have to even have long drawn out conversations with these chicks. You got to remember, the point of even talking to these women is to get them to meet up with you so you can hook up. If you need to write that down somewhere and put it on your fridge, put it in your room, you talk to women so you can get with them and hook up. Okay? You're not talking to them to, I got to get to know her and see all that. You'll get to know a chick after you are actually in front of her and experiencing her. There's really no getting to know some chick that you met online until you actually are face to face and having an interaction with her. You understand what I'm saying? Because all that stuff you think you're knowing about, you don't know her yet. You don't know how she's going to interact with you, in person, because a lot of communication is nonverbal, right? You got to see if you actually still, you're still attracted to her when you see her in person, because sometimes these chicks be fronting on these pictures. You understand? So the thing is that when you are, when you're getting to know her, that's when you're actually there with her. So don't worry about, chatting and doing all this back and forth and, oh, I got to build rapport and all this other nonsense. No. Hey, what are you doing this weekend? Oh, you're free? Cool. Let's meet up here. Give me your number. That's it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Quick like that. Now you're going to have some chicks who's going to be on some bullshit, who's going to say, oh, can we talk more? Can we Skype? Like you were saying in this email, the girl's like, can we Skype so we can, so I can hear your voice and all this other stuff and yada, 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 yada. Right? Now, if you're going to even do that, right, in most cases, I wouldn't even recommend it, because usually those chicks, they're either attention whores or they're one of those chicks who are just scared anyway, which is why they need the whole, I need to talk to you. I need to hear your voice first. I need to see you, blah, 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 because of, they're just scared of online dating or whatever. You understand? Now, I understand there's in certain situations, chicks might have got themselves in and, that now they want to be careful and all that. That's not your problem. Now, if you want to indulge in that, if she wants to call you or You want to Skype her and she wants to Skype for a second, you can do that. But again, keep it brief. And while you're Skyping, you just bring it back to, hey, so when are you free so we can really get together and see each other in person and, set that up. So, talk to her for maybe, 2 minutes on Skype and then end the conversation. You understand what I'm saying? But again, you're still leading the conversation as you are having it on Skype or whatever. Anytime you're talking to these chicks, remember that you have to lead the conversation. You have to guide that conversation in the direction you want it to go. Because if you don't, well, all you're going to be doing is rambling on, going nowhere. And then, you're going to get bored. She's going to get bored. Nothing's going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to have that thing in your mind. So the goal in your mind is either, okay, I want to, let me take this chick out for a drink. Let me go try to hook up with her. Let me do this. Let me do that. Let's go to the movies, whatever it is you want to do. You have that in your mind and you lead the conversation to that direction, to her agreeing to hook up with you, to her agreeing to get that drink with you, to her agreeing to, go on that date with you, whatever it is. You feel what I'm saying? Now, one other thing that I wanted to say that another thing in the email that I found is that you said she doesn't live in my city/state, but she travels a lot and comes out to my city often, right? So now what I want to say about that is this, is that if you're, when you're online and Tinder, OkCupid, whatever the hell it is, and you're talking to these chicks, make sure that you talk to women who are in your area. Okay? Don't waste too much time on chicks who are not in your area. Now, there are going to be some times where you'll swipe a chick or, and it'll say like, oh, she's near you, but she's not really near you. So she doesn't really, she's going to be coming to your city, which is why she's on Tinder trying to find dudes in the city she's coming to probably hook up or whatever it is, right? So if you do, come across a chick like that, or you end up talking to some chick who's far away, but she's going to be coming through, the same rules apply. You still lead the conversation. You set a date. But the difference is that since she is, let's say, you have a chick who's coming 2 months from now, she's going to be in your area. You say, oh, so when are you going to be, in my area? She's like, well, I'm going to be there from, the July 1st to the 15th or something, right? And you say, okay, well, listen, when you get here, here's my number. Give me a text. Give me your number. And when you get here, we'll get together and we will go to such and such spot and get a drink when you get here. Right. And then she's like, okay, cool. Let's make that happen. She gives you the number. Then you end the conversation and you just be like, okay, cool. Well, nice talking to you. Holla at me when you get here. Look forward to seeing you. That's it. I remember I had this girl who is cute Asian chick. I think she was from Hong Kong or something. I can't remember where it was, but we swiped, I was swiping on Tinder. So we matched or whatever. And then, so, we're talking and she's like, oh, I'm going to be out, in New York City, in a month and a half. So I was like, all right, cool. So I said, listen, when you get here, here's my number. Hit me up. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, okay, cool. Yeah, let's get together. So I was like, fine. That's great. So as the month was going by, and this will happen sometimes when you hit up chicks from that's far away that's supposed to be coming through. As the weeks was going by, she would text me on Tinder, just some, hey, what's up, how you been, and how's your week going or whatever, right? So what I would do is, and this is what you should do, because this will happen sometimes when you're dealing with chicks from far away who's going to come see you or who's coming to the city. They'll hit you up. And so she was like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I'm good, just working, whatever. And so she would sort of try to ask me questions. So I would answer like one of her questions. And then I'll always do this. I would just say, hey, listen, I gotta bounce right now. I'm, on my way to doing, handling some business. But listen, looking forward to see you. Holla at me as soon as you get to New York City. You understand? And then so as the days are approaching, it was like probably like a week before she was going to get there. She hits me up again. She's like, oh, hey, what's up? How you been? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm cool. And she's like, asking me another question. And she's like, oh, but this and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, this and this and that's going on. But by the way, listen, I got to run. But you know, holla at me as soon as you get here, and we'll get together, right? So the day comes where she actually, you know, she's actually coming to the city, and she hollers at me. She's like, "Hey, what's up? I'm gonna be in." You know, she hit me up as soon as she got to New York. She's like, "Hey, I'm in New York now. You know, can we get together tomorrow?" And I'm like, "All right, cool." You understand? So the thing is, and the reason why I'm telling you guys to, you know, basically tell a chick, look, we'll get together when we get together. I gotta run. I gotta go. You know, I'll holler at you when I see you. Is because you want to limit the amount of communication you're having with these girls for a couple of reasons. One is that if you continue to talk to this girl and, you know, have long ass conversations and blah 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 blah, right? It could, you know, basically kill that like vibe that you're going to have with you and her. You're gonna get too familiar. You might end up saying something that, you know, is going to make her not like you, and then you're going to ruin the situation. Or two, you could be talking to this girl, going back and forth and all this other stuff, and then she'll flake on you. So now you wasted all this time talking to the girl, and then she'll end up flaking. You feel what I'm saying? So you got to make sure that, you know, that you don't, you know, waste time talking to her like that. So the thing is that if you just basically hit her up and say, you know, hey, listen, you know, looking forward to see you. I'll holler at you when you get here, right? If the situation occurs where you don't even see her or she flakes, you at least didn't waste an hour and a half, you know, every 1 or 2 days talking to this girl who you're never going to see. You understand what I'm saying? So if you see her, it's cool because you've seen her and you don't waste time trying to, you know, go back and forth to see her. But if you don't see her, it's cool because you didn't waste all this time going back and forth with her. You feel what I'm saying? So anytime if she calls you or she texts you or whatever, you know, you could, you know, go back and forth with her for maybe like a minute. You know, if she asks you something, you could respond and then immediately be like, listen, you know, I got to run. I'm real busy, but I am looking forward to seeing you. So let's make this happen when you get here. You understand what I'm saying? So make sure you make it happen in that way, right? But again, for you guys out there, make sure you understand that you should be leading the conversation. You should be guiding it in the direction you want it to go in order for you to have more success with these chicks, and also limit the amount of going back and forth when you're trying to, you know, get with these chicks. All you need to do when you are texting, calling, talking to these girls is set up the date, set up the time you're going to meet, and that's it. It's real simple. All right. So that's about it, guys. Make sure you go to badboymembership.com so you can listen to my audio program, How to Attract Women Using Your Conversation Skills, so you can brush up on more of this. Also, if you have any questions, make sure you click the link below. And remember, if you're a Bad Boy member and you send me a question, you can get your questions answered, guaranteed, all the goddamn time. You feel me? So I'm out of here. Remember, guys, the truth is inside you. Peace. I'm gone. Now, before you turn off this video, I want you to do 3 quick things. 1, I want you to click the link below so you can send me a question and I'll do a video on it. 2, I want you to click the link under that to get my free audio program, Undeniable Game, which gives you 7 tips on how to really attract beautiful women. And number 3, I want you to click the link under that to go to badboymembership.com, where you get 45 through 90-minute audio and video dating advice tutorials every month. Hey, what's up? It's dating and life coach Mr. Locario. Go to badboymembership.com and master the dating game by joining my Bad Boy membership program. In this program, you'll receive 45 through 90-minute, easy to follow, step-by-step dating advice tutorials that's guaranteed to help you attract, date, and have sex with beautiful women. Join the Bad Boy membership today by going to badboymembership.com. That's badboymembership.com.